The termination letter was still warm in her hands when Aisha stepped out of the hospital doors, the rain soaking through her thin cardigan as if the sky itself understood her humiliation. Fired. Not suspended. Not warned. Fired. For overstepping professional boundaries. All she had done was stay late with a little girl who cried in pain every night, a child everyone else had quietly given up on. As the automatic doors slid shut behind her, Aisha had no idea that this ending would become the most powerful beginning of her life. Aisha Khan had been a nurse for 7 years, the kind who remembered patients' favorite tea and spoke softly even when no one was watching. She didn't come from money or connections, just a small rented room, a widowed mother, and a stubborn belief that care could change lives. That belief was what led her to Lena Albrecht, the 8-year-old daughter of billionaire industrialist Marcus Albrecht. Lena had been paralyzed from the waist down after a tragic accident 2 years earlier. Specialists from across the world had examined her, poked her with needles, scanned her endlessly, and finally concluded the same thing: permanent damage, no hope of recovery. But Aisha had noticed something others didn't. Lena reacted to certain sensations. Her toes twitched faintly during warm compress therapy. Her eyes lit up when music played during physiotherapy. These weren't miracles, but they weren't nothing either. Aisha began spending extra time with her after shifts, gently combining physical therapy with sensory stimulation techniques she had learned while volunteering at a rehab center years earlier. She never charged, never asked permission. She only asked Lena to try. When the hospital administration found out, they accused Aisha of giving false hope to a high-profile family. Marcus Albrecht's lawyers had already signed agreements limiting experimental approaches. The irony was bitter. Marcus himself barely visited. He sent gifts, flowers, the best doctors, but not himself. Lena's mother had passed away years earlier, and the mansion was filled with silence, staff, and empty rooms. The night Aisha was fired, she sat in her room staring at the wall, wondering if compassion had finally cost her everything. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She almost ignored it. "Miss Khan," a timid voice asked. It was Lena. Aisha's heart clenched. "Lena, how did you?" "I asked the driver to call you," Lena whispered. "They said you're not coming back. Did I do something wrong?" Aisha swallowed hard, forcing her voice to stay steady. "No, sweetheart, you did nothing wrong." There was a pause. "My legs felt warm today," Lena said softly. "Like when you do the music thing." But no one stayed. That was all it took. Aisha packed a small bag and went to the Albrecht mansion that very night, not as a nurse, not as an employee, but as a human being who refused to abandon a child. The guards hesitated but let her in when Lena insisted. Marcus was abroad. The house manager warned her she wasn't authorized to provide care. "I'm not here as staff," Aisha replied. "I'm here because she asked for me." In the days that followed, Aisha worked quietly with Lena in her room. No fancy machines, just warmth, rhythm, touch, repetition, patience. She taught Lena breathing exercises, used music to stimulate neural pathways, encouraged her to visualize movement. Lena laughed more. She slept better. Something shifted. On the 5th day, Lena moved her toe. It was small, almost invisible, but Aisha saw it. Lena saw it. They stared at each other in stunned silence before Lena burst into tears. Aisha held her, crying too, afraid to say the word miracle out loud. Marcus returned the next morning. He was tall, controlled, used to command. When he heard an unauthorized nurse was staying in his house, he demanded Aisha be removed immediately. But Lena wheeled herself into the hallway and shouted, "Papa, don't send her away." Marcus froze. He hadn't heard his daughter raise her voice in years. "She helped me," Lena said, gripping the armrests. "I felt my toe move. Doctors were called. Tests were run. The results were undeniable. Neurological activity had increased. Pathways thought dormant were responding." Marcus confronted Aisha privately, his voice cold. "Do you know how many experts failed where you succeeded?" Aisha met his eyes, calm but firm. "I didn't succeed. Lena did. I just believed her body hadn't forgotten how to try." Something cracked in Marcus then. Guilt, maybe. Or grief. He had built empires, controlled markets, but failed to sit beside his own daughter long enough to notice her smallest victories. The story spread fast. The nurse who was fired for caring too much. The disabled child who began to heal. Media called it unbelievable. Marcus called it accountability. He publicly apologized to Aisha, reinstated her position with full authority, then went further, he funded a rehabilitation center dedicated to children with complex disabilities, insisting Aisha become its director. She refused the title. "I'll work," she said, "but I won't sit behind a desk." Lena took her first assisted step 3 months later, holding her father's hand. Marcus was crying openly, unashamed. Aisha stood nearby, quiet as always, watching a child reclaim something the world had told her was lost forever. Aisha never became famous. She didn't want to. But every child who entered that center felt her presence, in the gentle music, the extra minutes, the unwavering belief that healing wasn't just about money or machines, but about staying when it's easier to walk away. And sometimes, what looks like getting fired is just life clearing the path for something far greater, something unbelievable.